There's something about the way you make me feel inside. I'm counting down the days till we fly away, heading to the sun, only you and me. Don't wanna waste another day being stuck here in this place. No, I wanna hold your hand in mine, watch the sunset in your eyes. Baby, I want us to act like we are 22 right now. Just let go, lose control, play songs on the radio too loud. This could be magical. Whoa, whoa. This could be magical. Whoa, whoa. To escape, and here we are, driving narrow streets in a rusty car, leading to the sea. Think we're getting close. We should take a pic, baby, strike a pose. I remember every day that I spent right here with you. Yeah, you are the one who makes me feel as good as I do. Baby, I want us to act like we are 22 right now. Just let go, lose control, play songs on the radio too loud. This could be magical. Whoa, whoa. This could be magical. Whoa, whoa.
Hey guys, happy Thursday. I had an idea and I started looking into it, researching like the best way to go about it. And it seems like the sort of thing that probably has been done before, you'd think, but I couldn't find anything. And so, yeah, I really want to do this. And I thought that maybe I would just kind of go through some of the thought process of planning it live with you so that in case anybody else wanted to host or attend an event like this, you can kind of brainstorm with me. And yeah, I have kind of, I'm leaning, in a few different directions, and but there's probably a bunch of different ways to do this really well. So, what is that thing? I really want to host a dog enrichment toy swap. Reason being, dog toys can get very expensive, and we all really want to provide our dogs with a lot of mental enrichment. But what I find happens, at least with me, is I buy all these toys. Some of them my dog loves, some of them not so much, but even the ones that get a lot of use at first, kind of a lot of times they end up getting pushed to the back of the shelf, and and I want to keep buying more things for them because it's really exciting. But if all of us have a bunch of toys sitting in the back of the shelf, not really getting used, then I don't know. Wouldn't it be a really good idea to kind of just organize a little toy swap? Now, of course, I'm talking about the sorts of toys that don't get shredded and destroyed, not just, tug toys and stuffies and things like that. I'm talking about the ones that we reuse, mostly food enrichment toys and puzzles. But there's a bunch of different types of toys like that, and even with a lot of use, a lot of them are very durable and stay very high quality and might be worth trading or swapping with somebody. So, with that said, I have some ideas, I have some questions, and I'm kind of gonna do a little bit of research with you here. So as we go along, if you've got any input, questions, comments, criticisms, anything, I would love to hear it because I really want to pull something like this off and have it go really, really well. So, with that, let's dig in. Oh, you know what? I didn't even say, if you haven't met me before, my name is Jennifer. I'm a certified dog trainer and behavior counselor, and that's me. So welcome. Okay, so with that, there's so many things to consider. First of all, maybe we should start with locations. That seems like a pretty simple, pretty basic question to answer about how to where to host something like this. Of course, we've got the option of just hosting it at home, probably more ideal for an event that is either just a kind of a smaller, more intimate gathering, or for something where kind of people stop by in more limited numbers. If it was going to be maybe small to medium, so a little bit bigger size event, I might be looking at something more like a public park. Any of the locations I'm considering right now, of course, are going to be outside locations. So home, like in the backyard, something like that. Where's my notes on the location? Okay, so yeah, a public park, potentially even a dog park. Dog park might be a good option if you've planned for this to be the type of thing where people wouldn't have had to pre-register or anything like that, but could kind of stop in. And if you think you might have a lot of surplus items where people might be able to, instead of bringing toys to trade, they might be able to pay. And if you've got that kind of thing going on, then we can talk about what to do with the proceeds later on. But just kind of thinking about like, what are the options for locations? What are the implications thereof? So yeah, what do you guys think so far? What when you if you were to imagine an event like this, what do you think would be the most comfortable for you if you were attending? Um, I the more I think about it, the more I think the dog park could cause more chaos than I would want. But my best idea, and I haven't contacted anybody about this yet, but what I think might be really cool is to host an event like this at a local shelter. Um, they can provide a location, and they can kind of be there to help plan. And the nice thing about doing it at a shelter is if you've got leftover toys at the end of the event, everything can be donated to the shelter pups, which is nice, benefits everybody. Um, so those are the locations I've thought about so far. Not sure if I'm missing any. So if you've got another bright idea, throw it in the comments. Um, let's see here. Close this out. Actually, let me see if I can put up a little comment. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so we got location ideas, and I'm keeping track of my notes as I go along, because that'll help me plan better afterwards. And I'll have to update you guys and let you know how this all plays out. So I'm thinking my favorite idea is the local shelter, but we'll see. Next question, which is probably related, is how big do you want the event to be, right? I was looking up, different types of swaps. People do clothing swaps and cookie swaps. Those are like the main ones that I've heard of, which by necessity there's a lot of differences than what I'm imagining with a dog toy swap. Those tend to be, I think from the sounds of it, from the descriptions, it sounds like those might be a lot more conducive to kind of an intimate atmosphere and making it like a very like tight friends group sort of thing. Whereas with a dog toy swap, I'm thinking it'll work out better if we get more people involved. So bigger event might need more space, in which case, yeah, the maybe outdoor, like a park or the shelter, might be better if you're gonna have more people, even if they're just trickling through. Might be better to have more space, if only to hold the amount of items that you get. But there could be benefits to each. A small event could still be really cool if you've got people who, like me, have collected quite a few toys. So yeah, I'll kind of keep that in the back of my mind. I'm leaning towards trying to advertise this broadly and get as many people involved as possible. Not only because I think then naturally you're gonna end up with more toys to swap, but you're gonna reach a lot of people who maybe even haven't even heard of enrichment, and it offers an opportunity to kind of educate them, right? I posted just a little poll on my local Nextdoor, just to see if people would be interested. I've gotten at least half of the votes have been from people who were like, yes, sign me up, this sounds great. Another 25% who said, I'm interested, but I don't have toys to swap. So there's definitely some people in that category. And then I think I got one person so far who didn't know what enrichment was at all. So yeah, like definitely, and that's such a small sample size. So if I were to advertise this more widely, potential to reach a lot of people in all those categories. A couple people, I think like 2 or 3 people voted. This is silly, but I put an option in my poll to say like this sounds dumb, and a couple people actually hit that as their vote. But it's not gonna be for everybody. Whatever. Hey CK, how are you doing? I don't know how long you've been listening, but does this sound like a good idea? Am I the only one? I'm like, I couldn't find anywhere examples of this being done before. And it must have been. I don't know. I think it's a good idea. Whatever. So let's keep going. Okay. So thinking about location, thinking about size. In terms of the guests or the guest list, another consideration might be and I kind of touched on this for a second ago, but do we want it to be the sort of event where people who might just be passing by can see what's going on and like stop in and maybe they can give a donation, get a toy, something like that? Or do we want it to be a closed event where we've got to pre-register so that you know who's been attending? I kind of think, I don't know. There's pluses and minuses to each. One of the reasons I might consider the needing to pre-register is because of COVID. I don't know. That way you kind of know, and you know that people who are attending have read through the guidelines and everything like that. Because I think guidelines are important, and that we'll get to a bit later. But yeah, so do we want to have pre-registered, or do we want to just kind of like maybe post that kind of guideline at the beginning and hope for the best? Who knows? Thank you, Jeff. Let's see. What if you made it... Oh, that's over my... Here, let me hide that for a second. Oh, not that. Oh, sorry, Jeff. Hang on a second. That's what we want to do. Okay. What if you made it more than just a toy swap? Maybe a little enrichment workshop in the beginning describing its benefits. Obviously, then people would need to pre-register. You can charge a little fee, maybe hold a raffle towards the end. Those are great ideas. Those are definitely great ideas. Yeah, that for sure. I'm thinking through, like, do we need... So similar, it's similar, and we can kind of decide, like, what's the best way to do this? Because I was thinking, I have my little brainstorm notes about, like, how to also turn this into kind of like to inspire a little bit of creativity. And so I did think, where's my notes on that? Creativity. Here we go. Yeah, I thought about maybe like setting up stations where, people can talk about or share recipes, like, Kong stuffing. Like, the possibilities for Kong stuffing are endless. And so there could be like kind of a sort of like break off group maybe, and that could be break off by like time, depending on how long your event goes. It could be like, okay, from 1:30 to 2, we're going to have this going on, or it could be break off by like, there's a table over here that's open the whole time where people can kind of trickle through and talk about recipes like that. And to your point, Jeff, yeah, what about workshops, either or both, of describing, kind of defining enrichment and its benefits, and or having like homemade enrichment toy ideas. Another possible like station or time slot. Like, there's so many ideas. I don't know how I could ever like make decisions like this by myself. I'm not like the best. I'm not an event planner, if you can't tell. CK, okay, yeah. I just got to your comment about what we need suggestions on. The original like spark of the idea was an enrichment toy swap, because I have all these toys and we don't use them all anymore. And I kind of think like a lot of people are probably in similar situations, and we want to offer our dogs more enrichment, and we could all just keep consuming and buying new, or we could trade and maybe even keep that going. Oh, that's another consideration. Is this a one-time event, or is it like a kind of a regular thing? Who knows? So yeah. Oh my gosh, Jeff, you gave me so much to think about. I kind of want to write down. There was something. Homemade enrichment stations, place for recipes or ideas, maybe even a place for like define and explain benefits. Okay, what else? Okay, so yeah, another thing to think about is, how long is this event going to be going on? I would think my comfort level is probably going to be in the 2 to 3 hour range. At least, to kick it off, start it with a one-time event, see how it goes, and then maybe even consider if we want to make it like a kind of cyclical thing, maybe like once a quarter or twice a year, something like that, or recurring. Here's oh, let me see what you said here. Really? Tell me more about that. What do you know about places not taking used toys as a donation? Because I don't know if it has to do with like fabric toys. What I have envisioned, like what I'm thinking of is mainly like non-fabric toys, which can carry more, germs and things. But things that can be cleaned and sanitized. Obviously, when we get to guidelines, I like, one of the main requirements is like any toys brought to the place have to be clean, sanitized, have to be safe, and in usable condition. So for me, I'm thinking there has to be some way to be screening toys. Somebody's going to have to be in charge of that. Screening. And along that same lines of like making sure toys kind of fit that criteria would be, yeah, I mean, I am concerned about the germs, but I don't know, there's gotta be ways around that. Yeah, whether that kind of plays into, again, whether we want to have people be able to just show up with what they've got, or you could have a sort of like toy swap forum where people can pre-swap. They can, even before the event, post what they've got or post what they want, to give people ideas of like, or reminders, oh my gosh, yeah, maybe I do have that sitting in my closet. If somebody else could get use out of it, great. So that you can kind of make a lot of individual trades even before the event, so people get what they want. And maybe even kind of, if you're going to have people pre-register for the event, if it's that style, have them list the items that they have to bring, maybe even post pictures, so that we can like pre-approve, like, okay, yes, we're taking this and this and this. No, we can't take your stuffed animals or whatever. I tried to give Kuzco's toys away. It looked new. Fabric and mind game stuff, and they wouldn't take any of that, nor his clothes. Were you... That's interesting. Did they give you reasons why? Was it a shelter, or where were you donating? I mean, I don't even know where else you would donate other than a shelter, but groomers wouldn't take it. Shelters wouldn't take it. Really? That's pretty fascinating. Ended up giving them to the vet. That's okay. That makes it even more fascinating that the vet would take it, but the shelter wouldn't. That's so bizarre. I showed them the toys were either not used or there were no tears or rips. Well, I wonder if it was just by chance happened to be that the groomers that you talked to or the shelters that you talked to, for some reason had that policy. But I'm gonna have to ask. So I know there's a lot of really great shelters in my area. There's one that I am registered as a foster volunteer with, so that's kind of they're the closest to me too. So that's kind of who I was thinking of. But I'll have to reach out to their volunteer coordinator and just see if this is something they'd even be interested in. And of course, then if they could take any of the donated items, I don't know. To me, it seems like something that you might. A shelter would want to support. I don't know. But I guess it's probably up to the individual places. That said, if wherever you're located, maybe it was a state policy, because I reached out to several shelters. And remind me what state you're in. Either way, here's my thought. Even if in your state or even in your area the shelters just aren't open to it, then maybe if you still wanted to do something like this, then maybe you would lean more towards having it not at a venue like that, but and not doing a donation, but you could do something else, like either have it smaller, have it more intimate, have it kind of a one-for-one trade thing, where the policy is, if you bring stuff and it doesn't get taken, you have to take it back home. If donations just can't be a part of it for one reason. That was in Maryland. Okay. I mean, I guess there's only one way to find out. So I'll start asking around. But yeah. Okay, that kind of segues nicely into two things. One, how to go about the actual exchange and what to do with the leftovers. So I read about a couple different ways to do exchanges like this, and I'm just not sure which would be best. I have kind of one idea, but maybe you guys will have some ideas about why that's not the best option. Who knows? But as far as like how to exchange, like I said, we could do the pre-exchange in a private forum or something like that, which I think might be a nice thing to do. But also, you can auction off items and split the money among the attendees. Again, gonna be the case if people are pre-registered. You can just straight barter, where you bring your toys in and trade individually. Like, hey, I like your toy, would you like one of these? And do it that way. That feels more chaotic and more potential for spread of viruses. So I'm leaning away from that sort of thing. And then I read this idea of creating like a fake currency. And so this is kind of where I'm thinking it might be great to, and to keep it really, really simple, have the currency be like tickets. Like you get one ticket for every approved toy you bring, and you can trade those tickets for one toy. So each toy is like exact same value. I guess it doesn't have to be exact same value if there's like a really expensive toy, but I'm trying to think, like, I don't know, most of the toys that I know the prices of or have purchased myself fall somewhere in the like $15 to $40 range. But once they're used, stuff loses value, and I don't know. Maybe it could be like a 1 to 3 ticket value for each toy. And then of course you can trade those in for the other toys. And that way, the nice thing about this is where my head's at, is what you can do then for people who didn't pre-register, if it's going to be a bigger event where you can have walk-ins, or if you have a lot of people in the community who are like, yes, this sounds really cool, I can save money on toys, I would like to get some enrichment for my dog, but this is a more community supporting way to do it and to save money. Then you can have walk-ins who can pay money for those tickets. Obviously it'd be cheaper than buying new toys. But yeah, then they can buy money, or they can pay money, get tickets, trade the tickets for toys. And then any proceeds from that, you can either set it up so that, again, proceeds could go to the shelter if you have it, or actually you don't even have to host it at a shelter. You could donate the money regardless, or it could be the sort of thing where I don't know, that's probably the easiest way to do it. I'm thinking, like, I read on one site that about splitting the proceeds among the attendees, but again, if you've got a big group, and if it's, if there's like, you donated a bunch of toys and you got some toys, but like, I don't know, that might not seem fair if you just kind of split money evenly and people weren't, that could get hairy. So I'm thinking more, you bring your toys, you trade up to as many toys as you have, and then any proceeds from the event could go to a donation of some sort. Yeah, CK, cool. That's awesome. So categories of toys to help people find the toy best for their pet. Yes. So can we talk about toy types then? Do you guys have, I have started a little list along those lines, and you can Oh, it's a good question, Jeff. Let me come back to that. So yeah, categories of toys. I think this is really important. Squeaky toys. Yeah, that's a good one. So the ones, I'll tell you the ones that I have listed. And again, I'm thinking we're gonna have to kind of list out for people like what the requirements for the toys are. So, and maybe define like what we're not accepting. Not accepting just stuffed toys, plush toys. That's what I wanted to. Plush toys, tug toys. Where we go. Okay, cool. So as far as like type of enrichment food puzzles, we've got the tumblers. So I'm thinking of things like the Kong Wobbler, there's so many different brands of like balls that the dog noses or paws at and gets the toy to roll or wobble and treats fall out. So that's one category. We've got a category of like licky mat type toys, and similarly stuff like the Kong, the traditional Kong, the West Paw, Topple toys, stuff where they have to get it lick it out. We've got I'm on the fence about snuffle mats because again, that's fabric. It can hold a lot of germs, so maybe snuffle mats aren't there for trade, but that could be one of the like creative stations, like to teach people about them. And okay, we'll come back to this too. Or I was also thinking about reaching out to pet supply stores, to see if they want to donate anything to this sort of event. Somehow get some advertising out of it. Who knows? I don't know. But yeah, so that could be a way to kind of incorporate the snuffle mats, but make them be like new so that they're not all full of germs and stuff. So another category like slow feeder bowls, and then the puzzles like the Nino Otosan, where there's usually these ones have more pieces. Dogs have to like pull things out, push, slide things, like puzzly ones. And you said squeaky toys too. So if there's a sound element, I'm trying to think of like food puzzles that have any kind of sound along with them. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna write it down because this is a brainstorm and we don't knock any ideas. But what about like, okay, and this would be like in a wildly different category, but what about the more expensive items like the electronic games? I'm thinking, like Furbo is an interactive food toy in a way. There's the Treat and Train. There's I don't know the name of it, but the games where the dog has to paw like lights. It's almost like a Simon Says, but for dogs. There's so many. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Okay. That would have to be worth a lot of tickets. Okay, if you guys have more ideas, we'll kind of add them as we go. But let me get to Jeff's question here. So what happens to an individual who gets tickets for their toys and ends up not finding something they like? So that's a really good question. Help me out. I don't know. Do you have any ideas? There's got to be a way to kind of offer them compensation. If it were going to be like monetary compensation, then the event would have to be big enough where we'd know like people are coming in and donating, because I can't, like, the idea is not for me to just pay for people's unwanted toys. But there's got to be a way to make that fair. It hasn't come to me yet. Cool, CK. So, all right, she says, don't remember the brand, but we had one. It was like a wobble toy that made a weird noise when it pushed, but the treats fell out too. So yeah, if it's one of those fancy ones like that. Okay, so this is helpful because I was thinking like just, one toy, one ticket, let's keep it simple. But I'm seeing like if I don't know, if people have some really cool stuff that's very pricey, like who knows? There'll have to be different values, I think, because even if it's all just within the like $15 to $40 range, like for new stuff, that's still a 100% difference. So let's see. Yeah. So that kind of ties into your question, Jeff. I gotta write this down. I mean, I wonder what the chances of that happening are. We could, I think one thing to kind of mitigate that risk is to do the pre-swap or the having people list what they've got so that at least we have some idea, attendees have some idea of what's the range of stuff that could be there, that they might get. But also, I'm also kind of wanting to advertise this as like don't give away the stuff that you might use. Like if your dog is still benefiting from the toy, like I don't want you to give it away. This is mainly like bring the stuff that you don't use anymore and you think other dogs could still benefit from it. So it's in a very like giving spirit. So maybe it's just if you don't get anything back, like you're still happy to donate. There's But I would like to offer an option for people. So I don't know. Help me out. Meanwhile, we'll keep moving on. There's so many ways to do this. And yeah, definitely need to think about what to do with leftovers, because I don't need to come home with a bunch of stuff. The people, the thing about if you're gonna say like if your stuff doesn't get taken you have to take it back home with you, I don't know, to me in my head that gets messy. I just feel like the best thing to do would be able to be able to donate them to a rescue. So I think that's kind of a key question from today is absolutely. Thank you, CK. I'm gonna add that real quick. The key question is going to be to find out, does a rescue want to be involved? Can they take donations like this? That's kind of key. That would make a lot of things fall into place for me. Okay, so, and yeah, just so I've said it out loud, CK, that's a really good note to a category of water toys too. I, for example, would love to get one of those, like I don't even know what they're called, like a fountain mat sort of thing, like the thing that you connect your hose to, and it's like a sprinkler, but it's a big mat for dogs. Not a food toy, but could be really cool. Could be something that could be cleaned and traded, maybe. That's neat. Is there any other water toys you can think of? I mean, pools, obviously, like we have the little fold up pool, that's easily transported, could be traded again. Pool, sprinkler, mat. So then, let's see. As far as kind of, again, with how to go about exchanging things. And again, could probably very correlated with the size of your event, but is it the sort of thing where you lay everything out and kind of people can just browse as they come in? Or is there a set time where we have, like, each person kind of has a turn to go and like pick the items that they want? They get a certain amount of time to do so, and there's a rotation, and then there's sort of a free-for-all with what's left. Another way to go about it, floating toys. Yeah, you're right. I'm gonna add that floating. And then of course like where to actually physically hold the toys. That might be able to be decided once you get an idea of how many people might attend, how many toys you might have, because if there's a lot of pre-trading, then you're not going to need as much space. But if you get a lot of people interested, and you're going to do it in more of a browsy situation, then you're going to probably need a lot of tables and ways to kind of organize each type of toy like we've been talking about. So yeah, I don't know. And then you've got, you're renting tables and things like that, unless you're able to kind of partner with a shelter or something like that, who maybe they've got that. So yeah. And then, okay, keep the ideas and the thoughts coming, guys. I'm kind of adding them where they belong as we go. And you guys, if you're interested in just getting my list here in case you want to try and plan a local event yourselves, I'd be happy to share this, but you just got to let me know if that's something anybody's interested in. Or we can wait and see how this all plays out here, and that way I'll have more feedback about okay, you know what, this doesn't work well at all. This is a great idea. So we'll see. But yeah, and then of course there's where do we advertise this? Is it by invitation if you're thinking it's going to be a pretty small event? That way then it can be more of a little a get together, a little party of sorts. And that way you can be selective about the humans attending. Ooh, that's another thought. Oh my gosh. But yeah, if you do want to make this kind of a bigger event, obviously, you can post publicly in a lot of different places to maybe find people who might be interested. There's Nextdoor, which I don't know. I didn't feel like I got a huge response from there, but then there's also local groups on Facebook. You can post in any sort of community, bulletin boards. Where I'm at, all the dog parks have bulletin boards, where things like this might be able to be posted. I think you have to contact them to get stuff like that approved, but could be a good option to find people interested. So signs at dog parks, just signs around the neighborhood maybe, and then of course if your shelter's involved, they can send out a little blurb in their newsletter, something like that. I gotta add that, I didn't write that down. Shelter newsletter, perhaps. Maybe even at the vet. This is not a bad thing for clients of vet hospitals to know about. I don't know. And then, yeah, okay. Where items go, organized by type of toy. What do we do with leftovers? How do we spread the creativity? And maybe even, yeah, well, okay. So Jeff, can I advertise at pet stores or groomers? I didn't go there immediately because I just want to be sensitive to the fact that they're selling these products, and obviously they may be kind of opposed to a trade where they're not making money like that. But on the flip side, it's also bringing people to their location if that's where it's hosted. So, yeah, I'm gonna write it down. It depends on how they might perceive some value for their involvement and how they want to be involved. Groomers also could be a way to get people. I don't know. And the reason I don't know about groomers is because frankly I've never been a client of a groomer. I'm honestly, groomers kind of scare me a little bit. Um, but it's possible. I know that sometimes groomers might sell products, which again, same vein as the pet store, where it's like if they're selling similar items, I don't want them to feel like we'd be taking any business from them. That's not the goal. But you don't know till you ask, right? So absolutely, I'm gonna put it on the list. um, then let's see. Thank you guys again so much for your input. This is definitely a lot of good ideas you're sharing here. And again, I don't think anybody answered yet. Would any of you, like, would you ever want to organize an event like this, even if it's just kind of among friends or local or anything like that? Like, sometimes I wonder, like, is this just me that I'm having like this? I think this would be a great idea, and like everybody else is like, I don't want anybody's used toys. No, thank you. I don't know. So okay, we talked about like size and how to find guests and how to do that. Pre-swapping could go either way. I don't know. We talked about locations. We talked about actually we kind of touched on guidelines, but here's the question I was thinking about a second ago. Is this, and I already have an answer for myself, but this is something for you to think about, is this a dog-friendly event? Meaning, is it going to be okay for people to bring their dogs? And my answer is, I think, for me personally, I would rather run an event where dogs are not present. It's for dogs. Come get stuff for your dogs. This is to benefit everybody's dogs. But the layers of complication that come along with having dogs present at an event like this, it's going to require more manpower. There's going to be higher risks. The liability, like, it just, I don't want that. I'd rather it just be a toy swap. So, but a question for maybe you, if you're thinking about something like this. Do we limit the number of items? Like, I don't know, like for me, like I have a lot of repeat Kong products. I don't know. I don't think limiting the number of items would be a concern. Yeah, CK, it's true. That's another good point. Sensory overload for the dogs, especially around all those toys. Yeah, especially if, I mean, I think tables would be better anyway. It's just more comfortable for people than having them like on the floor or something. But yeah, absolutely. It's like, I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever taken your dog into a pet supply store, like that's very exciting for them, even if there's no other dogs present. But my main concern is the dog to dog interactions, or maybe people bringing their dog who, are not as skilled at reading their dog's comfort and anxiety levels, and those dogs going over threshold and that kind of liability. And I don't want any dogs to be made uncomfortable. I don't want any people to be made to be uncomfortable. When you work with dogs in public, like I have, you run into like a lot of people, like even dog people, and I just don't want anything bad to happen. That's all. I'm a very risk averse kind of person. So yeah, for me, just no dogs would be better. Obviously, guideline, no fighting, no bickering. Like let's keep this very friendly, positive. Jeff says, depends on the setting. Yeah, definitely. If it's at a dog park, naturally dogs are going to be there, which might be another reason I rethought do I want to hold mine at a dog park? Probably not. But everywhere else might be easier to just, let's avoid it. Let's leave the dogs at home with a sitter, wherever. They can rest and relax, and then you're going to come home with gifts like Santa Claus or something. So more guidelines. I'm thinking no dogs. I don't know. I don't know. I wrote it down because, again, brainstorm, but probably no limit on the number of items. I don't want a restriction on you can't attend if you don't have items, which is why I'm thinking like you can purchase tickets sort of thing. Obviously, COVID related guidelines, probably going to need to ask people to wear masks, have sanitizer. The toys have to be cleaned and sanitized. You'd probably just have to take people's word on that. Yeah, I don't know if there's any like better way to kind of enforce that other than just like a quick inspection, or maybe even, I mean, I have like veterinary grade sanitizer that you can like kind of quick spray things down that's not harmful for pets, but or humans, but I don't know, something to think about. And yeah, and then the guideline about the condition the toy's got to be in. Are there guidelines you guys can think of? Anything else that just for people to, you gotta tell people sometimes, right? Especially if this is publicly advertised, if it's gonna be a bigger event. I want to make sure that like people are aware of like how we're gonna keep everybody safe. We're gonna keep everybody's dogs safe. I would imagine having hosted events like this, that a shelter, if they want to participate, they might also have some really good input about how to do it safely and happily. So that's okay. I have one more kind of category of thought that I was thinking about, and that's how to, when you're advertising, like how to sell the benefits of participating, because you want people to come, right? I don't want it to be a big flop. So just kind of thinking about the benefits for people is you do get to kind of clear out the clutter, and who doesn't love that? I do. If you're coming with or without toys, you can get new stuff and save money on it. Your dogs will benefit from having a new rotation of dog toys, of food puzzles, and attending the event in person. Again, we're gonna get to, it's in my head, this is like a really fun event, and it can be social, and we could even like, I want people to like be building connections, so that maybe, who knows, you meet somebody there and you're like, yeah, I don't know, we both buy a lot of toys, like maybe we could do this kind of just between us on an ongoing basis. I'd love for people to be able to build connections like that. Or maybe, you end up showing pictures. Oh, okay. All right, I just had a thought, but like, maybe you like end up talking about your dogs and their personalities, and you're like, oh my gosh, like I think our dogs could be great friends. Like you could maybe make dog play date friends in that sort of way. And the like brain explosion I just had was like, that could be also a thing. I think it would, this is something I think I want to include, is like, have a group that's active for at least like a month or two beforehand. And this is where you could do the pre-trades if you want. It's where you could also like encourage people to share stuff about their dog. People love talking about their dogs, right? And that's a way to like maybe get people more participating more. So yeah, there's that. Make connections. So that's where I landed. I don't know if there's anything big that I'm forgetting yet. But if you guys have any other suggestions for guidelines, suggestions for benefits, like how else might this be beneficial for the community? You get to feel generous of spirit. You get to help out the community, help out the shelter if it's at a shelter, and then any other suggestions for like types or categories of toys. If anybody's watching this on the replay, again, happy to take any ideas, no matter how late this is, because again, I'm gonna try this once, gonna see how it goes, and maybe it could be an ongoing thing. I don't know. CK says maybe an area where you can show people how to build some interactive toys from recycled type items. Absolutely. Did I have that written down, or Can we add that? Yes. Here we go. Homemade, like a homemade enrichment toy station. I'm gonna put paper towel rolls, things like that. Absolutely. Empty bottles. Great ideas. Ooh, even like old towels. I love the idea of having like a station for that. Tell me this, do you think that would go better if it was just like a table over in that area, like that's kind of open the whole time where people can see, or maybe I you know what? I was leaning towards that option, but the more I think about it, the more I'm like, if you're advertising this, you can kind of have a schedule where like we're doing that for this half hour or something like that. I think maybe that's easier to kind of keep the mess to a minimum, and encourage people to be there by a certain time. If they're interested, you know, it like, yeah, I think that's a good way to do it. So that's my thought process. So, if any more input, any impressions, suggestions, anything like that, happy to hear from you. Even if it's months from now, because this, again, I think it's probably going to need to advertise for at least a month, even once you start putting it out there. So, yeah, at any time, share your ideas. If you are interested in my notes, also leave a comment letting me know that. Otherwise, thank you, Jeff. Thank you, CK. We'll call it a day for now. Thanks again for helping me brainstorm. This has been fun, and I think it could really be a fun event. So now I guess I gotta go contact the shelter. Let's see what they think. And hi, Jesse, just dropping in to say hi. Cool. Well, if you have any ideas about how to have a successful toy swap, always welcome to comment. Always happy to see you. But with that, have a wonderful rest of your day. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you guys next week. All right, don't forget to subscribe. All right, ciao, bye.